Hello everybody. It is your sister Des the Princess and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video I'm going to be sharing all about my Lotus birth experience. I'm a mother, I am a certified doula, a childbirth educator, and a child of God, and I'm so excited that you took the time to sit and watch my video today. I know there's so much information about Lotus birth, so it means a lot to me that you chose to watch this video. If you're new here, please consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I will be sharing a lot more about my birthing experience, my postpartum experience. So if you're interested in learning about any of those topics and just learning a little bit more about myself, you are in the right place. So a little bit about what a Lotus birth is. Lotus birth is the practice of keeping the cord attached to the placenta until the cord naturally detaches itself from the baby. And usually this can take anywhere between 3 to 10 days. With my first child, it took about 10 days for the cord to naturally detach from the baby's belly button. But with my second child, I guess because we already experienced it, it only took about 4 days. The art of keeping the baby connected to the placenta means that there's no cutting of the cord. Usually when the baby comes out and the baby is born, you then will have to birth the placenta. So in my situation, after I birthed my baby, I gave birth to the placenta. So you have the baby and then you have the placenta, and they're attached to each other with the umbilical cord. A lot of times the umbilical cord is cut immediately after birth, or it is cut a couple minutes or a couple hours after the cord stops pulsating. But there's a practice that allows you to extend that time even further by not severing the cord at all, allowing all those nutrients and vitamins and minerals to come from the placenta to absorb into the baby's body. So I'm going to talk to you guys all about why I chose to go that route and just what that experience was like for me, because it was very different from anything I would have ever imagined. Parents choose Lotus births for a different reason, and many parents view it as a sacred and highly intuitive practice. The art of keeping the placenta attached to the baby is supposed to preserve the baby's energetic field and encourage a slow and peaceful separation from the mother out into the world. The practice of Lotus births traces back to ancient and indigenous practices where the Lotus birth was seen as sacred. Some cultures have long believed that the placenta is the baby's twin. They'll call it their spirit guide or their protector as they enter into this world. Actually, the name Lotus birth was coined by Claire Lotus Day in the 1970s. After she observed primates not severing the cord when they gave birth in nature. In places like Bali, the placenta is honored as the child's guardian. In ancient practice are used to preserve the purity of the placenta, such as burying it for different rituals. In some African and Jamaican cultures, the placenta is seen as spiritually significant, and a lot of times they'll perform rituals where they will bury it under a fruit tree, and this is believed to grant the baby a fruitful, everlasting life. Many believe that keeping the placenta attached allows for a smoother transition from the womb to the world. Some spiritual practices believe that cutting the baby's cord too early disrupts the baby's energetic field. Now I'm going to walk you guys into how we did our Lotus birth and what that looked like for us. So after the baby is born, the placenta is usually delivered within the first 5 to 30 minutes. And it's very important to wait for the placenta to detach naturally from the uterus. You don't want to pull it out, you don't want to yank it out, because we don't want any residue from the placenta left inside of the uterus. So after the placenta is delivered, you want to keep the placenta very close to the baby at all times. Avoid pulling on the cord. Let the cord, for the most part, remain undisturbed. Unlike traditional birth practices, when you have a Lotus birth, the cord is not clamped nor is it cut, it's left alone. The cord will begin to shrink and dry immediately, stiffening over time. And you have to be very careful and paying attention not to get it caught on anything, because you want the blood to flow from the placenta to the baby without there being any disturbances. Now, the placenta is a bodily organ that is usually inside of the body. When it's outside of the body, over time it can develop a smell, and this is why drying and preservation methods are set in place. We use different organic salts and herbs to rub dry the placenta to help it preserve for the next few days, to help it dry out until the cord naturally detached from the baby. Some of the herbs that we used were pink Himalayan sea salt, lavender to help create a calming, soothing smell. If anyone is interested to know the herbs that we use exactly, I have it in the description below, so please check that out. You can screenshot it if you like. After I gave birth, we liked to do things very slowly and at our own pace. So if I wanted to give you guys a time frame, the placenta was birthed my placenta was birthed maybe 9-11 minutes after I birthed the baby, and then we immediately rinsed off the placenta very lightly, removing, you know, the blood and everything off of it, and then we went on to preserve it. Mind you, we're carrying the baby and the placenta at the exact same time. You want them to stay together. So after we rinsed off the placenta, we went on ahead and we patted it dry. We rubbed it down with our herbal blend. We let it air out for maybe an hour or two, and then it was time to wrap it. So when we wrapped it, we used a muslin cloth, and I like these cloths because they are breathable. I think it was just the most perfect material. Or you can use cotton. We got our muslin cloth off of Amazon. And after you wrap the placenta, you can store it in a bowl that you have dedicated for the placenta, or you can get a placenta bag. They also have those on Amazon as well, specifically made for Lotus births. And like I mentioned earlier, the umbilical cord will usually detach from the baby within 3 to 10 days, depending on how you're caring for the placenta and how you're caring for the baby. One tip that I learned from my first birth that I applied to my second birth was to keep the belly button very clean and very airy. I think during my first birth, I wasn't fully aware of what this was like. There wasn't that much information around this topic at the time, and I made the mistake of keeping the belly button like covered almost with the pamper. You know, new mom things, you make mistakes. So I think it took a little longer for the cord to detach because the cord was dried out, but the belly button was still like not as dry as it should be. But with my second birth, we made sure to keep the belly button very clean and very dry and very airy, and that's why it only took 3 to 4 days for that cord to just fall off naturally on its own. Now, I want to say that doing a Lotus birth is very different because you'll have a newborn baby and you also have it connected to this placenta. So it's almost like you are walking around with twins because you have to keep the placenta very close to the baby. And one thing that I wasn't expecting is that the cord dries out and stiffens so much. So you have to be careful how you angle it, how you move it. You have to be very careful not to tug on it, not to get it caught on things. You have to keep it clean. You have to keep it airy. There are extra protocols when you are attempting to do a Lotus birth. So even after birth, blood continues to flow from the placenta to the baby for several minutes. Keeping the cord attached until it stops pulsating allows the baby to receive all those nutrients, all that blood and those vital minerals from their placenta, the thing that has housed them and kept them nourished all this time. So unlike cord cutting, the Lotus birth and allowing the blood to fully transfer to the baby allows for a fully sealed and natural healing process. This process is natural, it's undisruptive, and it allows baby a very smooth and gentle transition to the outside world. It's scientifically proven that babies who have Lotus births are more calm and more gentler during their postpartum period. So I can imagine that it's very shocking entering this world. The greatest thing I wanted to do is to help ease my baby into this process, and I found that the Lotus birth was one of the best things I did for my child. So just like any practice that isn't normalized, there are some questions and concerns that may come up. One big factor is the odor. Like I mentioned before, it is a bodily organ. It will develop an odor if not cared for properly. So one of the things that we did was every day, maybe twice a day, we would check the placenta because it still has a lot of of blood in it. It still has a lot of minerals in it. And the herbs that we rub on there, they are being absorbed into the placenta, which is a great thing. But it is important to keep adding those herbs on there, to keep adding that salt in there to help dry it out and to help keep that odor down. I believe that we did so good with our herbal salt blend that my placenta had no odor to it and actually smelled beautiful. Doing a lotus birth is going to be very different for the first couple days of your postpartum journey. You do have to carry the baby around and the placenta around, so just be mindful of that. Be prepared to have an extra helping hand because that process was a little tricky, trying to move around with a baby and another, organ connected to the baby. That's very different. So you just want to be mindful and think ahead and plan ahead to have a little bit more assistance with that process if that's what you're looking to do. And I'm going to be honest, if you want to do a lotus birth, there may be some social and medical oppositions that you may come across. Many doctors or nurses may be unfamiliar with the process. And they may question or even discourage the lotus birth because they don't know much about it. They weren't taught much about it. And these practices aren't really encouraged by doctors and nurses. So it's very important, parents, that you guys are well informed on what this process is like and informing your birth team on what your plans and expectations are for your birth and the plans that you have for your placenta. So in my opinion, having a lotus birth it's very different than just having a single baby after you give birth. After you give birth, there's a lot that's going on with you and your postpartum, your first couple days, weeks after birth, and there's a lot going on with your baby too. If you're choosing to do a lotus birth, you definitely want to be prepared for those changes. You want to be prepared by having an extra set of hands to help you with this process because, like I said, it's not like you're just carrying a baby on its own. You also have to have the placenta connected to the baby at all times until it detaches naturally. Lotus birth is a beautiful, natural, and deeply meaningful practice. If you or anyone you know has experienced a lotus birth, please, I would love for you guys to share your experience in the comments down below and share with me your thoughts. Is this something that you could see yourself doing? And I know there was so much more that I could have shared in this video, but I'm trying to not stretch my videos out for hours long. If you guys have any questions, please write them down in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. If you guys haven't already, please follow me on Instagram at Des the Princess, and that's Des, D-E-S .the Princess, for updates or behind the scenes insights of my life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I pray that it was beneficial to someone out there. And until next time, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace, shalom, thank you for watching, and much love to you all.